Welcome in to the Roll Tide Rewind. We appreciate you joining us here today. If you like what you see, please give us a subscription to the channel. We are at 990 subscribers at the time of this recording on Wednesday, February 25th. I'm recording a little bit far in advance because I got to go on a trip this weekend, and then I have to work and then go on another trip the next weekend. So trying to prepare in advance. But thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. And like I said, if you like what you see, give us a subscription. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. Today, we're going to do a quick video of the offensive depth chart heading into spring practice and position battles for everyone to watch, and kind of like what to look forward to in the spring football practice window. Alabama last year went, I believe, 11-4 was the number they went. 11-4. They ended up making the SEC title game. They won a playoff game. They were one of 5 teams to win a playoff game, and then they got the right to go to the Rose Bowl and get plastered by Indiana 38-3. So we're looking for this year maybe to take a step forward, maybe make the semifinals, maybe get a little progression, but there's going to be some change on the offensive side of the football. There's a lot of position battles to watch that I'll go over today. We won't break them down fully. I'll probably do that a little bit later on, but as of right now, we're just kind of mentioning them and mentioning the depth chart. First, let's go to the quarterback position. This one's the obvious one. This is going to be the main talk of the offseason. Is it going to be Austin Mack or is it going to be Keelan Russell? Austin Mack entering his 4th year of college, very young guy. He's only turning, I think, 20 this offseason. Keelan Russell will be turning 20 as well, but this will be just his 2nd year in college. Keelan Russell was the more high-profile guy out of high school. Austin Mack has taken his time to develop. So it's kind of your pick, your poison. You pick the more experienced guy, you pick the guy that you think has more potential. Both played last year, both had their moments, had their shines. Austin Mack was the guy they chose a second. So if I had to pick like an early leader, it probably would be Austin Mack, but things can change. You also have true freshman Jet Tamala coming in, Tayden Kawa as well. I did a video on Jet just a few days ago. Be sure to check that out. Also did a video on Keelan Russell and on Austin Mack as well, breaking down what they bring to the table. We'll move to the running back position. This is the one I'm most excited about to talk about. There's 4 realistic options of guys who could probably start. Daniel Hill, A.K. Deer, Kevin Riley, and Xavier Crowell. Daniel Hill, did a video on him a few days ago, but he's going to be, I would say, the early favorite, but just because he looked the best last year. But then again, like what happened last year probably doesn't matter to this running back room, because last year the running back room was pretty low. Like it just wasn't the best that it's been. Daniel Hill, 3.8 yards per attempt among the running backs that had at least 75 carries in the SEC. That was the lowest, and there were 25 running backs that qualified for that. A.K. Deer, 5-star. He has a lot of potential. He had 7.4 yards per attempt last year, but very limited time, so kind of like hard to, go compare those two numbers really. Kevin Riley, also 3.8 yards per attempt, but he's a more quick, elusive guy. He brings that to the table. Xavier Crowell is the name to know, freshman coming in. I did a video on him as well like a few weeks ago, breaking down his film, but 91 touchdowns in 3 seasons in high school. He's an early enrollee as in he enrolled in January, but also he finished high school early. So he's got a lot of potential. Ryan Grubb has already offered high praise for him. So watch out for this running back battle. We also have Trayshawn Brown and Khalifa Keith coming in as well. Those would be pretty good depth pieces to have. Maybe if it's not working, throw one of those guys in, see if it works. We'll go to the next position. This isn't going to be a battle at all. This is going to be Ryan Williams' position. He played more slot this past year, but I expect him to be pushed back to the outside with Jermaine Bernard and Isaiah Horton gone. He had as some people would say, a sophomore slump. He had a dip in catches, yards, and touchdowns, but had almost 700 yards last year, despite Bernard and Horton taking up a lot of the catches as well. Hopefully we get a big junior season out of Ryan Williams. I see a lot of great things for him in this offense. We'll talk about these other 2 guys in just a second when we talk about their potential at starting for the other receiver slot. So Ryan Williams, probably the outside receiver. Who's going to be the slot receiver? I think Lazier Brooks is the easy answer there. Last year, 32 catches, 441 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rico Scott started the year, ended up having a touchdown against Florida State, but as the season went on, Lazier Brooks became the guy for this position, and I don't see him giving up that position. Rico Scott did enter the transfer portal, but he popped back popped back to Alabama like within a day or two. Don't think the options really were great out there, but there's still potential for Rico Scott too. He's the fastest guy on the team. I think he has a lot of potential. Just a very explosive receiver. This is the one position battle for the receiving core that we'll talk about. This is going to be the Z wide receiver, whereas the X and the H that Latzio Brooks is the slot, Ryan Williams is the outside receiver. This is the receiver that's going to be put in motion a lot more, and it really benefits Noah Rogers. He's a great receiver from NC State. I feel like when you watch his highlights, I did a video on him like 2 or 3 weeks ago on what he brings to the table. He benefited a lot from the short, quick passing game, catching short intermediate routes and making plays out of them, and that's the perfect person for this position. Rico Scott, also, like I said, speedster. He could be utilized here as well. But the other two guys are interesting. Derek Meadows came in last year and played a little bit as a freshman, ended up getting injured, but his 6'6" frame really stands out among these receivers. We need a big receiver, and I think he also fits that mold. And then also Cedarian Morgan fits that mold at 6'5". Freshman from Benjamin Russell High School down in Birmingham, Alabama. He is, I think, the biggest wild card here. Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer have already offered their praise for him this offseason, and it's just February. So watch out for him as well. I think he has a chance to make a name for himself in this position. Next position we'll talk about is the tight end spot, the Y tight end. This is going to be the blocking tight end. This is one that is also a position battle because we don't know who's going to start. Danny Lewis comes back for his redshirt senior year. He didn't play much last year due to injury. He would have been the starter at this position. And then we have Josh Ford, transfer from Oklahoma State. I would give the edge to Josh Ford right now. I think he stands out a lot in his blocking ability from the clips that we showed on the Roll Tide Rewind from Oklahoma State. Jay Lindsey, Jack Samarco are also depth pieces that played on Alabama last year. I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Lewis also takes this job. It's kind of 50-50. Danny Lewis has the experience, and he was going to start for this team. But Josh Ford looks like he just brings a different edge to the table, almost like a Robbie Oots-like edge. But like I said, in another video, like in the next week or so, we will break down the position battles just a little bit more. I'm mostly just giving you position battles to watch and then also just presenting the depth chart that I see it as of today. The H tight end, so the receiving tight end, this was Josh Cuevas' position last year. This is Caleb Edwards' position this year. He played, I thought, great as a freshman. He came in 11 catches, 150 yards. Cuevas last year finished with 37 catches, 411 yards. So the tight end was very much well-trusted last year for Alabama's offense. Marshall Pritchett also comes in. He played seldomly last year. He has a lot of potential at his big frame. Max Sutter is the wild card to watch in this position. I did a video on him and his potential impact as a freshman. I think he honestly could play. I didn't put his name in here for the Z receiver slot. He averages a 6'5", 230-pound frame. It's kind of what Alabama wanted Caleb Odom to be his freshman year when Kalen DeBoer got here. I believe I see the similar stuff in Max Sutter. So that's another thing to watch out for. And then Jackson Shuttlesworth was a transfer from Jacksonville State, rounds out the tight end list. We'll move on to the offensive line. Left tackle, Javen James, transfer of Mississippi State, multi-year starter. And then we also have Jackson Lloyd, who very much given high praise from the Alabama staff. So it's going to be between those two for the left tackle spot. Ty Haywood transferred from Michigan. I don't believe he will start at left tackle. I think he's going to be more interior. We'll go over that in just a second, but just to watch out for the left tackle spot that is being left by Caden Proctor, who started there for 3 years. Left guard, Will Sanders played a lot of left guard last year, and it wasn't a name talked about a lot, but he played a pretty good bit for the Alabama offensive line. I think I would give him the early lead. And then we also have Nick Brooks, who started a few games at Texas last year, 6'7" frame, huge player. I could see him starting here as well. You also have Ethan Fields, in which they're either going to start at left guard or right guard. Both jobs are open. So like I have names at both, but they all kind of will flip-flop. Or Ethan Fields, he played every game last year for Ole Miss, didn't start. He played special teams, but An experienced guy who's played in the SEC is always a good thing to see to add to the offensive line. We'll go to center. Rayson Delgado is one of the favorite names from this transfer portal class. Came from Cal Poly, was an all Big Sky player. I know people who hear Cal Poly, they're going to think that's not going to transition over well to the SEC. Josh Cuevas played at Cal Poly first, and I believe he worked out pretty well. So let's just give it a chance, see if it works. Or Caden Strayhorn, redshirt freshman from Michigan, played a game or not a few games last year. He obviously was redshirted, so he didn't play more than 4 games, but looked pretty okay in the film that I saw. I think very much a potential to start here with his big frame, and especially if it transfers over very well, I could see him starting. We'll see. It's an interesting battle for center. I think it's a good position battle to see. For right guard, you can throw in Nick Brooks, Will Sanders in this one as well, but Ty Haywood, I think, is going to be an interior guy this year. Caden Strayhorn, also, if he's not going to be starting at center, I believe he could transition well to a guard position. Same thing with Ethan Fields. But Ty Haywood, he was a freshman that was committed to Alabama, very highly rated high school prospect, and then he flipped to Michigan at the end of the cycle, and now he's back at Alabama. So we're glad to have him there, 6'5" frame. And then the last position for the offense, this one's the easiest one to predict for right tackle. It's Michael Carroll's job. That's the only certainty on the offensive line is going to be Michael Carroll at right tackle. Body looks great as a freshman last year, and we'll see how he improves moving forward. But, yeah, that's just a quick little video breaking down the offensive depth chart. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the defensive depth chart, and then we'll do a special teams one as well with some new special teamers coming in. But until then, I hope everyone has a great rest of their week, and roll Tide.